Hello YouTube, my name is WizarDrew, and in this video I've got a time-lapse of some map making using Inkarnate. I will narrate some of the thought process I used while making this map as we go. Hope you enjoy, and let's just get into it. So we're going to start off by just kind of making the continents and the land masses. There's not really a specific way that I tend to do that, it's just kind of what I have in my head. With this specific map I knew a couple of the territories that I wanted to make sure were on there, but other than that, the rest of it is just kind of freestyle creativeness. A lot of the islands that I put here are just kind of random dots and jaggedness just to make them look like islands in the area. I subtract a little bit of land mass here just so that there's a little bit of a sea for later. Start to put mountains in. I've edited that quite a bit because I was not happy with the way that they were getting put up for a while. But once I was happy with the placement and stuff, this is what it starts to look like. Again, there's not really too much of a thought process for me here, so I'm not a master of geography, so I just kind of put stuff where I like it and what looks good. You can see the trees are something that take a while for me to get right the way that I want it to look. I go back through and delete most of those right here. But as you can tell, there is a lot of work that I do with these trees. I'm just kind of going for sparse foresty areas. Sometimes there's situations where you want to do just bulk dense forest, but in a world map like this for me, I just kind of wanted to put patches to show the main large forests in areas like that. I switch over to some dead trees here. I know that this continent is pretty much like a giant wasteland. I don't know too much of it other than the fact that it is a giant wasteland, and it is that way because of magical disasters. At this point I realized that the green trees are just not going to blend in very well with the parchment-y look of the land masses, so I am going to have to use some of the brush tool to kind of make things blend in a little bit better. I do struggle a little bit to find a brush that I like for the background of like mountains and hills for a little bit, but I end up finding something that works, and I think it ends up looking pretty good. I realized at this point I had forgotten to put some textures and trees and stuff down in this area. This is where I'll be setting most of the upcoming campaign in. I'm actually basing that off something in a book, and I needed to make it look like the way that it looks in the book. Chose that dark parchment for this area here because, again, it's all a wasteland, and I wanted it to look kind of wastelandy and destroyed. I then go back and kind of subtract some of the darkness from around a lot of the mountains. I kind of wanted it to look more of like the mountains were casting a shadow, and in some of those spots it was just too dense of a dark color for it to look like shadow. Once the shading is done on the land, I go through and start naming a lot of the places. A lot of this has been trimmed up quite a bit. It took me quite a while to figure out a lot of these names. Some of them I already had planned, but for the most part I was just kind of making up names as I went. I used a lot of fantasy name generator to come up with inspiration. Naming is personally one of the things that takes me the longest time to do. At this point, I knew I wanted to name one of them the Emerald Ocean, but I did not realize that the green was available until just now, so I started doing some ocean shading, and I figured out kind of some cool little tips and tricks for ocean shading in Inkarnate that you can kind of notice here. A lot of this right now is just kind of fooling around and getting the base set up. I eventually find the black markers and I can change the opacity and it ends up looking pretty good, I think. I make a lot of mistakes and over darken some of the areas, but other than that, I think it ends up looking pretty good in the end. You can see a lot of the edits and mistakes and going over it multiple times kind of a thing just to make it look good. now I'm just kind of resizing everything so that the important parts stick out, and then I realize I kind of want to put a little bit more shading in the ocean and finish it up. As you can see here, this is the finished product. It is available in my Discord, link is below in the description. So is my Twitch and Twitter links as well. A brief description of the map here is the Land of Asdel was my first campaign, so I wanted to make sure that was in here. Down here is the Icarus, which is my most previous campaign. And then the current campaign is in the Kingdom of Keolune. I haven't decided how I wanted to pronounce that yet. I probably should, because it is going to be streamed on Twitch, actually. Friday, February 5th at 6 p.m. Mountain Time. So make sure you go over there, follow that. It'll be in the schedule after this Friday so that it will actually be on there and everything. So yeah, make sure you follow that. I'll also be posting a lot about that on my Twitter. But back to the description here. In the campaign, it mentions this area. I kind of changed the name a little bit to match what I like and my personal things. Other than that, the rest of this is all just kind of made up. Just kind of going with the flow for the most part. Like I said, naming things takes the longest for me. I'm never happy with names, so tell me what you think in the comments. What are your sites and tools that you use? What are your thoughts when you make a map? Also, once again, the map we made in this video is available in my Discord, link down below in the description, as well as the links to my Twitch and Twitter. On Twitch, again, Friday the 5th February at 6 p.m. Mountain Time. We're going to be playing the first session of the campaign down in the Kingdom of Keolune. I think that's how I'm going to pronounce it, to be honest. So make sure you go over there, follow, and we'll see you then.